Nnamdi Kanu, former lawyer Ifeanyi Ejiofor clash over legal representation amid IPOB crisis. Welcome to Nigeria Wave TV. If you are new to our channel, please subscribe and don't forget to like and share our stories. Thank you. A fresh dispute has erupted between the convicted leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, and his longtime lawyer, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, following Kanu's former announcement terminating the lawyer's services and Ejiofor's insistence that he had already withdrawn from representing the IPOB leader nearly 3 years ago. The disagreement, which has exposed deeper divisions within the separatist movement, has also drawn attention to competing claims over the authority to appoint legal representatives for IPOB and the group's increasingly contested leadership structure. In a letter dated July 22, 2026 and personally signed by Kanu, the IPOB leader formally confirmed the termination of Ejiofor's appointment as his personal legal representative. Kanu explained that although he had earlier communicated the termination verbally, he considered it necessary to issue a formal written notification to eliminate any ambiguity surrounding the relationship. According to him, Ejiofor had continued to act directly or indirectly as his legal representative and that of the IPOB, despite the earlier verbal disengagement. He consequently declared that with immediate effect, Ejiofor no longer has any authority, whether express, implied or otherwise, to represent him, his family or IPOB in any legal, administrative or public capacity. The IPOB leader further maintained that under the organization's code of conduct, only the recognized leader of IPOB possesses the authority to appoint or remove legal representatives for the movement. He therefore announced the withdrawal of every authority previously granted to act on behalf of IPOB and directly making him to refrain from making public statements, granting interviews, issuing legal updates, or appearing in court while presenting himself as counsel to either Kanu or the organization. Kanu also reminded the lawyer that information obtained during the course of legal representation remains confidential under the rules governing legal practice. He warned that any unauthorized disclosure of privileged information relating to him, his family, or IPOB would amount to a breach of professional ethics and would attract legal consequences. The latest development follows an earlier breakdown in the relationship between both men. In June 2023, Kanu's younger brother, Nnamdi Kanu, publicly announced the removal of Ejiofor and senior advocate of Nigeria, Mike Ozekome, from the legal team handling Kanu's matters before the Supreme Court. At the time, the family cited disagreements over the conduct of Kanu's legal representation, including allegations that Ozekome had failed to visit the IPOB leader in detention, despite repeated requests. Reacting to Kanu's latest letter, Ejiofor dismissed the announcement, insisting that the formal disengagement was unnecessary because he had personally withdrawn from representing Kanu in December 2023. In a statement posted on his Facebook page, the lawyer maintained that he had ceased acting as Kanu's personal counsel long before the IPOB leader's conviction and subsequent life imprisonment. He argued that while his personal relationship with Kanu as a client had ended, his legal engagement with IPOB remained valid and uninterrupted. According to Ejiofor, he and his legal team have continued to serve as solicitors to IPOB and have discharged their responsibilities professionally throughout the period. He disclosed that between December 2023 and 2025, his legal team secured a discharge and acquittal of more than 200 individuals facing persecution for alleged membership of IPOB in various high courts across Nigeria. Ejiofor stressed that although Kanu participated in his original appointment as IPOB legal representative in 2017, his mandate to represent the organization was distinct from his personal engagement as Kanu's lawyer. He also rejected suggestions that Kanu alone could terminate the validity of his appointment as IPOB counsel. The lawyer further alleged that Kanu had continued to threaten and blackmail him despite their professional separation. Ejiofor claimed the IPOB leader had made several false allegations against him over time, including accusing him of having an intimate relationship with Kanu's wife. Describing the allegations as malicious, defamatory, and entirely fabricated, Ejiofor said he had never contemplated such conduct and had deliberately chosen to remain silent in order to uphold the ethics of the legal profession. According to him, despite repeated attack on his character, he had continued to exercise restraint and had not disclosed any confidential information obtained while serving as Kanu's lawyer. He, however, noted that Kanu's repeated public accusations had placed him under pressure to defend his personal and professional reputation. The disagreement has also become intertwined with the growing leadership crisis within the IPOB. Attached to Ejiofor's statement was a letter dated July 27, 2026, purportedly signed by Chika Edozie, who identified himself as the leader of IPOB's Directorate of State. The letter reaffirmed Ejiofor's appointment as the organization's general legal counsel, stating that the appointment superseded the original letter issued in May 2017. Edozie said the decision followed his re-emergence as the leader of the Directorate of State and what he described as the suspension of Kanu as IPOB leader. Ejiofor relied on the letter to argue that IPOB had officially renewed his mandate as the organization's legal representative and that such a professional relationship could not be unilaterally terminated by what he described as a former leader of the movement. However, Kanu had earlier announced the dissolution of the Directorate of State led by Edozie and appointed a new leadership structure, creating conflicting claims over who legitimately controls the organization. The parallel announcements have deepened uncertainty over IPOB's leadership hierarchy and raised questions about the validity of decisions taken by the rival factions. Ejiofor also questioned the authenticity of the letter through which Kanu announced his former disengagement. He argued that under the Nigerian Correctional Service Act, any official communication originating from an inmate must bear the authentication and approval of the officer in charge of the correctional facility before it can be regarded as genuine. According to him, the absence of such official authentication raises legitimate questions about whether the correspondence truly originated from Kanu. The exchange between both men marks one of the most public confrontations since their professional relationship deteriorated and reflects the broader internal divisions currently confronting the IPOB. While Kanu maintains that Ejiofor no longer has any authority to represent either him or the IPOB, the lawyer insists that he voluntarily ended his personal representation of the IPOB leader years ago and continues to serve as the organization's duly appointed legal counsel. The conflicting positions, alongside competing claims over the leadership of IPOB, have further complicated the legal and organizational issues surrounding the separatist movement.